All right, Algebra 1, we are taking our test on Wednesday, Thursday this week. So I'm going to get through our study guide here beforehand. So the we do, we're going to do in class. So if you're on Tuesday and Thursday, we're going to do that in class. But the you do is the part that you're supposed to do on your own. So if you have any questions or aren't sure about any of these, this is a perfect video for you to be watching. Okay, so for the first one, again, the slope formula is m equals y minus y over x minus x. And so if you need to label those, that would be fine. So y minus y, in this case, I'm going to start with this one, so 5 minus 2 over 7 minus 7. So I end up with 3 over 0. Now, we've talked about it before, but 0 is allowed to be on top. It is not allowed to be on the bottom. And so if 0 is on the bottom, then your answer is undefined, or UND. Okay? So same thing on this one. I'm starting with y minus y over x minus x. So xy, xy. So I'm going to start with this one here. So 7 minus 2, m equals 7 minus 2 over x minus x is 11 minus negative 6. Well, minus a minus becomes plus, so I've got 7 minus 2 is 5 over 11 plus 6 is 17. And there's my slope. Okay. So, last one on this row is finding the slope of this line. So if it's already a graph, we want to go ahead and get our rise over run. So you need to plot 2 points here. Okay, so I've got a point here and a point here. Now, if those aren't the 2 points you chose, that's okay. We should end up with the same answer as long as we simplify. So I've got 2 for the rise, and then it's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And since it's going uphill from left to right, I have a positive, so I can go ahead and divide both of those by 2, and my simplified answer is 1 over 3. Okay. So, for the next one, it says find the rate of change. Well, the rate of change is just another word for slope again. So I'm just going to use m equals y minus y over x minus x again. This time it's a table, so I'm just going to choose 2 y values. So negative 6 minus 2 over 3 minus 5. Okay, and that's it. So I just go ahead and work that out same way I did the other one. So negative 6 minus 2 is negative 8. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And then I simplify. So negative divided by negative is a positive. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And I'm done. Okay. And so the last one here, I've got the same deal. It says find the value of r so the line passes through each pair of those points and has the given slope. So I have the slope. I need to find the missing value. So m equals y minus y over x minus x. So this r value is in the spot of an x. So I need to put that in for x. And so the slope is 1/4. So I'm going to go 1 over 4 is for m equals y minus y. So I'm going to start with the one that's missing something. So y minus y is 5 minus 3. And then r minus negative 4, which becomes plus. Okay, so when I simplify, 5 minus 3 on top is 2, and then everything else pretty much stayed the same. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and cross multiply. So 1 times r plus 4 equals 2 times 4 is 8. And so 1 times r is r, 1 times 4 is 4, and now I go ahead and get the r by itself by subtracting by 4, and I get r equals 4. final answer. Okay, so that's slope. That is slope. Okay, so on the bottom, review. These have some review problems that we haven't talked about in a while, but for this first one, absolute value, if it has these bars on the end, it's an absolute value, which means there's going to be two answers. Okay, so the first one is 5t plus 4 equals 9. That's just the regular equation we started out with. And then 5t plus 4 equals negative 9. And I just solved both. So subtract 4, and I get 5t equals 5. And then divide by 5, I get t equals 1. That's our first answer. So get t by itself on the other end, and I get 5t equals negative 13. Divide by 5, I get t equals negative 13 over 5. And sometimes they don't simplify. It's going to be a fraction answer, and that's okay. Okay. So for this next one, it shouldn't be too much review because we literally just did this. If it's fraction equals fraction, I cross multiply. So 10 times x minus 5 equals 4 times 15, which is 60. So let's go ahead and solve. 10 times x is 10x. 10 times negative 5 is negative 50, equals 60. So add 50 to both sides. Excuse me. And I get 10x equals 110. And when I divide by 10, I end up with x equals 11. Okay, so 2 review down, only a few to go. So for this problem, it says if x9 is a solution to the equation negative 4x equals 5y minus y, what is the x value? So what we're trying to find is x based on the fact that 9 is the y value. So all I'm really doing here is plugging in our y value and finding the x value. So negative 4x equals 9 minus 5. Just plugged in 9 for y. And so negative 4x equals 9 minus 5 is 4. Divide by negative 4. I get x equals negative 1. Simple as that. Okay. So down here, I've got which equation is not linear. So we kind of talked about it in class. We have x or y. We have x or y. We have x or y. So none of those is out of the ordinary. Okay? The one that's out of the ordinary is the one that has the exponent. So our final answer would have to be B. Okay? So look at your x and y. If it's just x, that's okay. Just y, that's okay. Just x, just y. This is not just x. This is x squared. So that's the one that sticks out. Okay? And our last one, solve for b. I just want to get b by itself. So just like any other equation, I need to go ahead and solve for b by getting rid of any addition or subtraction first. So negative 7b equals 12 minus 5a. Since they're not like terms, I can't subtract 12 minus 5. And then divide by negative 7. Again, nothing really I can do there. So just keep it as everything on top, 12 minus 5a, all of that over negative 7. And there it is. Okay? So, on to the second page, part 2 of the you do. So here's the we do we talked about in class. You do. We have our first one, standard form, and intercepts. So with intercepts, remember, to find the intercepts, you just use the cover-up method. So cover up the y to find the x, cover up the x to find the y. Okay, so for the first one, cover up the x, I get 3x equals 15. And then cover up the x to find the y, I get negative 5y equals 15. And then we just solve both. Divide by 3, x equals 5. So I go to 5 on the y-axis, or the x-axis, I mean. There's x equals 5. Divide by -5, I get y equals -3. So -3 on the y-axis is down here. And then you just make your line going through those 2 points. And there we are. Okay. Cover up the x to find the y. So some we mentioned in class, really when I'm covering up, I'm actually plugging in 0 for the opposite variable. Okay. So that's kind of what we're doing here. The x and y intercepts are -2 for the x, -1 for the y, but I can't just write -2 and -1. I'm going to write the actual point. Okay, so for the x value, I've got -2 for x, 0 for y. For the y value, for the y-axis, I've got 0 for the x, -1 for the y. Okay, so we're actually writing down the actual point value, not just the x or y value. Okay, so that's something to think about on your test. Okay, so on this one, what's the x-intercept? Again, x-intercept is when the y value is 0. So the y value is 0 here, x is 14. So x equals 14 is our x-intercept. Well, what does that mean? Well, look at your situation here. I've got time in hours, volume in gallons, and we're draining a pool. So it took 14 hours to get the pool to 0 gallons. So basically what we're doing is draining the pool to empty. So 14 hours to empty the pool, or to drain it to 0 gallons. Okay. And so these last two are talking standard form. Okay. So remember, standard form is ax plus by equals c. So I want x and y on the left side, constant on the right. So I need to move this to the other side and this to the other side. Okay, so I'm just going to start out with the constant. I get -2y equals -8 minus 17. Oh, -8x, sorry. And now I need to move the x to the other side. So plus 8x to both sides. And I get 8x minus 2y equals -17. So that's my answer, because I've got a positive x value and none of these are fractions. Okay, and so that's it. Same thing over here, but I need to get rid of the fraction first. So I'm going to multiply by 5 to cancel it, but I got to do that to everything. So the 5's cancel. I get 1x minus 45 equals, and then 3 times 5 is 15y. And so once again, I need to move a couple things. I got to get this over here, got to get this over here. So let's just decide what we're going to do first. I'm going to move the 45 first. So I've got 1x left over here equals 15y plus 45. So subtract 15y to both sides. And I end up with 1x minus 15y equals 45. And there we are. That's standard form and intercepts. Okay. So our last part is standard form again, but with real-world applications. Okay, so the first one here says rates to rent a raft to go whitewater rafting are 100 for a large raft, 40 for a small raft. Okay, so I've got large raft is x, small raft is y, and they actually give us the equation. The equation here represents the number of large rafts x and small rafts y that can be rented for $1,600. If no large rafts are rented, so no large rafts means x equals 0. Okay, so how many small rafts can be afforded? Well, I'm going to basically just plug in 0 for x, which means it's not there anymore. And I have 40y equals 1,600. So divide by 40. and I end up with y equals 16 divided by 4 is 4 with a 0. So 40 small rafts. 40 small rafts. Okay. So same thing on the last one, except we have to actually make our equation. So at a pet store, it costs $5 to wash a cat, $7 to wash a dog. Last week, the store made $100 from washing cats and dogs. So I'm going to stop right there and label some things. So washing a cat is X. 7 is washing a dog, so that's Y. So I've got 5X plus 7Y equals our total of 100. Okay? So it says, if 6 cats were washed, right, and solve the linear equation to find out how many dogs were washed. So 6 plugs in for X. So 5 times 6 cats plus 7Y equals 100. So 5 times 6 is 30, and I'm going to solve for Y. So subtract 30, and I get 7Y equals 70. Divide by 7, I get Y equals 10. 10 what? How many dogs were washed? So 10 dogs. Okay? So our last thing I want to talk about here is horizontal and vertical lines. Okay, so you don't have to write this down necessarily, but pay attention. So we want to write the equation for each of these situations. So a horizontal line, horizontal means this way. So a horizontal line going through 5, -2. So 5, -2 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -2, 1, 2. So 5, -2 would be right here. And if it's a horizontal line, that means it's going this way. Okay, so since it crosses the y-axis, that's the equation. Y equals -2. And the same thing goes for the other one. I've got a vertical line. Vertical means going up and down, going through -3, 4. So -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So -3, 4 would be right here. And it's a vertical line going through that point, so here's my vertical line. And so again, it crosses the x-axis. So since it crosses through the x-axis, its x equals whatever that x value is, which is -3. Okay? And there we are. Those are our two vertical and horizontal lines. Okay? So any other questions you have, email me, and I can help you out. Peace.